Thank you for joining us today. We're here, the Group IB team. I'll just start with a quick introduction, and then we can jump into the theme of the call. Can everyone hear me okay? Great. Okay, great. So before we get into the agenda, I would like to introduce the team on the call. We have Mr. Igor Stolyarov. Igor is the head of our digital risk protection for the Middle East and Africa. He's based out of Dubai, our HQ in Dubai, in the UAE. We have also Ms. Jenny Khalilova, who is the marketing manager for our region. And then there's myself, I'm Ashraf Koheil, I'm the regional director for Group IB MEA. I wanted to walk you through the agenda quickly today, and then I'll do like a 5 minutes introduction, and then we'll hand over to Igor to talk about the contents of the agenda today. So today we're going to have a brief about the Group IB, the story of the company. What is the scams? What is scams and what is phishing campaigns? What is the evolution since 2019 of major scams, especially targeting our region? And then what is the classic scam expansion? And then we will summarize and conclude and have any questions from the audience or any specific things that you would like us to clarify further. Thank you. So just a quick history or summary of Group IB. Not many people know what Group IB, the word IB is. So Group IB, we started as an investigation bureau. So we're known to be the incident response company for quite some time. We're services arm, helping companies, we've been victim to cyber attacks of all types, whether scam, phishing, fraud, any kind of APT attacks, basically helping them doing the containment of the attack, the forensics, and so forth. Our services were designed around zero dwelling time, which is helping the organization get up to speed, being less vulnerable to attacks, and then helping them during an attack and then post an attack. So we did that. The company grew all the way to 2010 to be one of the largest, basically forensics in Eastern Europe. We built our own CERT in 2011, and it's in the basis of the CERT that we built our own threat intelligence services and the threat intelligence and attribution and our digital risk protection. Our CERT is one of the most qualified and most recognized, and also it collaborates with other CERTs across the region to share information, share insights on cybercrime trends and so forth. 2013 is the time where Group IB started developing its own solution. So threat intelligence and attribution was the most mature solution, which is basically the core engine for threat intelligence and the core engine for the digital risk protection, for the brand protection. In 2014, we developed our own threat hunting framework, which is our answer to the intelligent EDR or intelligent XDR beyond sandboxing, which is malware detonation. 2015, we developed our own fraud hunting platform, which is basically became pretty much a standard for online fraud detection and prevention for the banking and online transactions and e-commerce platforms. As you probably follow in the news, 2016 and 17, this is where we started engaging with law enforcement. We collaborate with international law enforcement in 3 areas, such as Interpol, Europol, and local law enforcement. Basically, one is at the technology level, 2 at the forensics and enrichment of forensics, basically, and attacker intelligence. And the 3rd piece is around the training. Group IB moved to Singapore, became a global, our Singapore office is our global HQ. Although the company have its Russian roots and we are proud of it, but we are an international company now with global HQ in Singapore and head offices in Amsterdam, or regional HQ for Europe in Amsterdam. And as you probably followed in the news, 3 months ago, we launched our Dubai office. Our Dubai office have the majority of the expertise supporting the region. So we have presentations in the region as well, in Saudi, in Egypt, in South Africa. But we have more than 20 people now and growing the team in forensics and consultants and training and product support and solution support and also localization. Okay, before this is probably the last slide I'll be sharing before handing over to Igor to go into the details of today's DRP. Obviously, our solution offering is quite comprehensive. Group IB is a full ecosystem provider, basically. So I'm going to share with you just a summary of the solutions offering that we have today. And today we are going to only be focusing on digital risk protection, but please follow our website and our local emails and news, and look up for the next events for the next solution suite. So as I mentioned earlier, Group IB is around our services portfolio. That's where we are very strong in, and this is where usually partner engagers to assess where they're at in terms of cyber resilience and red teaming and penetration testing and compromise assessment capabilities and training capabilities as well. On top of that, we have 4 specific solutions. Our threat intelligence and attribution is, as I mentioned earlier, the most mature, and it's the one probably deployed pretty much everywhere in the key accounts over the last year and something in the region. Our threat intelligence attribution is pretty much unique in the sense as it's very relevant to the region specifically in terms of fraud and data and attacker intelligence targeting our region and globally as well. It's designed around threat intelligence workflow. Basically, it's ideally can run the investigations capabilities and the forensics capabilities in it are easy to deploy and basically easy to use and operate, and also it's pretty much one of the most recognized by analysts in the region. Coming to our digital risk protection, as you know, digital risk protection is not only about takedowns, as many of you know, it's about prevention as well. So what Igor will show you today is how comprehensive is our attribution, our brand attribution, that we are actually capable of detecting earlier the majority of the attacks or brand infringement targeting your organizations or your VIPs and so forth. So we will go through that in detail in the next over the next 45 minutes or session. And then our fraud hunting platform is basically a client-side fraud detection solution, can detect fraud and any kind of scam or phishing activities or compromises for e-commerce platform and online banking platforms. And then last but not least, obviously, is our threat hunting framework. Our threat hunting framework is pretty much the next generation sandboxing or the next generation XDR. It's basically the intelligent XDR. We're going to be planning a session, an awareness session on each of them. And most important piece is, why do you need to invest in this kind of technologies, and what do you need to basically, what is the return on investment? How much damage does these solutions protect you from? With that, I'll thank you very much for your attention for the last 4 minutes or 5 minutes, and I'll hand over to my colleague, Igor Stolyarov. Igor, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ashraf, for your bright introduction. Thank you, everybody, for joining. So, and now let's take a look at actually digital trends and modern risk, which a lot of us could face from the brand perspective, from the user perspective. So as you know, because of the lockdown situation in past 2 years, we didn't have a chance to go out to purchase some of the products offline, and the only way to purchase any items was only the online case. And it actually the same story for the companies, because a lot of companies, well-recognized brands, actually adjusted their strategy into the online sphere more, because it's only the way how they could get a return on investment and basically still get their revenue back. As you can see, the overall number has growing of internet users by 7%. The social media users as well have been growing, because this particular platform is well recognized and mature to use as a channel to attract audience and actually get their revenue. As we can see on the left hand side, the number of online stores has growing by 2 times more than it was before the lockdown. Also, the different brands started to create the tailored offers, which, as we can see, has increased in numbers and in percentage basis to the profits, because people can see different advertising campaigns, but when it's tailored one, they attract more attention and people actually go for it and purchase on such tailored offers. And as I mentioned, the sellers are using the social media to drive sales, and this is one of the most powerful channels to make it. From our perspective at Group IB, as Ashraf mentioned previously, we really analyze the high-tech crimes and the activities of different fraudsters, hackers. We analyze TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures, how actually scammers are working, what tools and techniques they're using behind from the technical perspective. We also analyze the phishing cases from all sides and place such activities in all of the details from the more technical side in our annual reports. As you can see on the screen, the high-tech crime trends. This is our annual report. You can use the QR code and just download it to yourself for the more educational purposes. But today, we will be covering the topic which is not really covered in this particular report, and we will discuss about the scam cases. But what is the actual difference between the scam and phishing? As we all aware of and well know that the scam case, that the phishing is well recognized. It's also written in ICANN website that it should be a copy of your official website, and it should collect credentials or login and password. These two parameters are given understanding and picture that this resource counting as a phishing one. But what if the resource is not lookalike, doesn't use any brand, or doesn't steal any credentials, brand credentials, bank account number, or login and password? So in this case, such fraudulent resources cannot be counted as the phishing ones, and we call them scam. From the and what is the unique point here is that scammers are using such activities because the to detect scam cases, it's more difficult rather than to detect the phishing, because phishing usually consists the similar domain name, it's the same design. But also I would like to mention that the phishing is the part of the scam, but at the later stage. And I would like you also to during this training to educate you more, so you have a bigger picture, bigger understanding what is the phishing activities, what are the scam activities. As we can see by the statistics and percentages rate, the phishing is growing year by year. It's not growing so fast, but it's still the numbers are increasing. But what about the scam activities? You can see the number is much higher, and the probability that you will face the scam case is much higher than you will face any phishing cases actually. So that's why we need to actually make this awareness and the focus that the scam cases are happening more frequently rather than just pure phishing websites where you just looking for the brands or the company or bank name and you face the phishing case. Rather, probably first of all, you will face the just contextual advertising, some of the adverts or social media banners which will redirect you, so on and so forth. But about the scam cases, I will share with you more details a bit later and how it's actually look like. Also on the screen you can see how fast the scam cases are growing. So the phishing case, I would say, has more the flat structure and a growth rate, but the scam cases are growing year by year enormously, and this year we see the percentages even higher because it's more attractive tool for users, because they basically becoming trusted to the scam case when they see tailored advertising campaigns. Then they will be redirected somewhere, make some service, and then they will get afterward the phishing resource. And usually scam cases, they collect they can collect some of your information. So the resource may look alike, but it will not collect any login, password, or credentials. It will collect, for example, your phone number or email address. And we as a user sometimes thinking that since it doesn't steal a lot of credentials or critical data of mine, so I can actually proceed with these advertising campaigns, fill up the survey because they just email or phone number, and no risk is here. So probably it's legitimate and a legal resource, so I can play with it and use it. But at the end of the day, you will receive to your email and phone email or phone number which you actually filled in the phishing campaign. In more technical details, I will show you a bit later. But now let's take a look actually at one of the bright examples and moving to the trends themselves, which we have discovered and detected in 2019. The scam case is calling, and this particular scheme is calling the White Rabbit. Why so? All of us know the fairy tale written by Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland. And if you remember, Alice she was bored in her routine, day-to-day things, and she didn't have any interest in her environment. And then she saw actually the White Rabbit, which was really attractive one, and she decided to follow him. And at the end, she thought that it will be something interesting to her, something beneficial. But at the end of the day, she went into the rabbit hole and she got in really troubles and bad consequences. That's why we call pretty this this particular scheme in the same way, because and it's good comparison because the scheme structure is pretty the same way. So first of all, users are trying to attract, not user, but scammers trying to attract traffic into the via different sources and channels. For example, messengers, contextual advertising campaigns, social media, email, via different messengers send-outs, for example, via WhatsApp. And you see we divided into the two stages. On the first stage, we see the traffic attraction. And they create the really tailored offers. So for example, you go to the internet, you see some interesting advertising, some maybe giveaways, you will click on the resource and then you will have a redirected chain, and you will be asked, for example, to fill up the survey and you will win something. And then you just fill up your name, surname, your email address, your phone number, as an example, or just email and phone number, and then you're just waiting, maybe you will win something. And what scammers do, so they receive these details, and in several days they can send you the email with a phishing link where you will receive the notification that you won something. Just click on this link and you will get actually the bonus and the money which you won. And this link consists of the phishing content where you leave your credentials and then they basically steal your personal data, login password, and basically have an access into your bank account, or they can sell your details in the dark web. So there are different types of approach what scammers are actually using. But even though, what is the unique point compared to the pure phishing website, standalone website, compared to the scam case? When there is a traffic attraction, where is the different redirects, different paths, where the branding is used, and the difference is because you're becoming really trusted into this particular scheme, because you start engaging yourself in this particular scheme. You started to play with the surveys, you started to fill up and engage with those giveaways. At the end of the day, when you receive such emails in few days, or on your messenger, the personal link that you want something, you already trusted to the source because you already had some experience to pass these kind of activities. And what I would like to mention also, when the user received the phishing campaign, it doesn't consist of any of the brand mentions. It doesn't consist any information related to any of the companies and brands. On the left-hand side, we see that they're attracting by creating some adverts and banners by using the big brands, big companies, big names. But when they send the phishing link, at this stage, they don't use any brands, and we call it as 2.0 phishing, where there's no brand mentioned. Basically, from the first perspective and from the brand perspective, you cannot really detect this phishing case. So that's why it's really unique and more dangerous rather than just the standalone phishing website. Now let's move forward, and I would like to share with you some of the details, and here one of the examples of a personalized link formed automatically for user after passing through the redirects chain. While passing different data related to your ISP, search query, OS, IP address, it's all of those details actually are collected, and that's what it makes also unique. We can take a look precisely in the link itself, what it consists of. For example, S10XS, name of the device for which we were searching via Google search. DNS, it's not the name server, it's the name of the electronic retailer who was suggesting this mobile phone. Then we see the Windows 2010 version of operational system on the virtual machine, which was used for this attempt, particular one. ISP, this is the internet service provider name, and the IP address, which was given to the certain laptop when we were trying to connect to the internet. But what is worth to mentioning is the key, as you can see, the times stamp with the hash. In this way, the link could be opened only with a combination of factors from the same place, same device at a certain moment. So this particular link will not be opened from any other devices, laptops. If you locate it on different countries and regions, you will not basically have any content by visiting this particular link. And this link, it works usually for only a few hours, up to 3 hours, and then it's dead. So this is the unique point when the scammers creating the personalized links, which allows moving you to the concrete path and the direction where the user actually is looking for the certain period of time. And it's unique to collect such all of the evidences and details. And that's why you need to use the really deep and comprehensive approaches to actually support to detect such activities and all of these details and information. Because if, for example, you didn't collect these details, you just provide a simple link asking the internet regulators to take down this particular this link, they will say, well, there is no details, there's no information behind it, so it doesn't work at all. What we can do with this? But from our perspective, when we can provide all of the evidences, all of the details, screenshots, and information around it, it supports for the enforcement procedures. But still, scammers are using these kind of approaches because there is the probability of detection is reduced because you see nothing is related to a brand or the company itself. The response process becomes more difficult because you have to prove to internet regulators and you have to analyze from the technical side all of the evidences you have to collect and then give it to them in their hands. And more victims becoming. That's why these scam activities are growing so fast compared to the phishing cases at this time. Moving forward, I would like to share some of the traffic attraction channels which were in the last year, and we see the trend is remain the same, and the numbers just growing higher and higher. So the social media stays as the top one for the advertising campaigns and to attract people via the social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn in some cases as well. So the email stays in a second stage. Before, actually, we have noticed that the search engine advertising were one of the most powerful tools and channels to attract traffic. But nowadays the picture a bit changed, and we see that social media is one of the most powerful channels, as well as for our original brands and official companies, as well as for scammers, because they also quite smart. They became more smarter, I would say. Those guys who are doing the scam activities, they're really sort of like have hacker skills. to trick people to use from the technical perspective this kind of activities. And they don't sleep, they see the trend and they go for it. And they also trying to trick the users, which and disguise as the original and official brands and offers. Moving from the from the 2019 to the last year, we see that the numbers are growing from the original scam domains which we were detected when this scheme actually has been started to grow. It was only 80 domains. Last year, it's already more than 300 domains of doing the scam activities. And you see the number of brands per domain, how big it is. So previously they were mainly focusing on and it was split between Russian companies and the worldwide brands, just the well-known ones. Why it's so? Because basically scammers tested this scheme mainly in Russian region, in Russian brands, and then they started to see the interest and actually good profit view, and they started to move actually to the online brands and to our region, to Middle East and Africa. They started to grow immediately these days. So we see in 2020 already the percentage and the ratio has been changed into more moving to the international brands, and now they're growing even more faster in our regions. Some of the interesting numbers, you can see how large actually their activities. For example, when they create one scam, they can you can imagine how much money they can make, because per one domain, this is the number only unique users by monthly audience participating on these sites. And you can see, for example, the first one is 2 million almost 700,000 users, unique users who are visiting such resources. And this amount is just growing. Now let's have a look at the scheme modernization from the more technical angle. So we split it, as I discussed previously, this scheme into the first one is the traffic, then the redirect and the URL. So the scammers still use the same techniques to attract traffic. They use contextual adverts, emails and DAOs, social media advertising campaigns. And on the basic stages, what we detected quite a long time ago, and we're working with it already for a lot of years. Usually when you see the fraudulent advertising campaigns, thinking it's official one, you just click on it and you will be redirected, for example, to the phishing website where brand is also used. Or there are sometimes even no redirects, you just click on the website and it's a phishing one. But these are the basic steps and stages where we have worked on them for many years. But what happening in last 2 years, that they have actually created more complex way to trick people, to convince people to move and pay actually directly to the scammers. They started to create multiply redirect chain. They even have the sort of advert server, which allows to which creates the path where the user will be end up, depending on what type of query you enter the search engine, depending on where you're located, depending what you were looking before for other brands. All of these parameters are giving them the concrete picture, and they will adjust, and the advertising will be adjusted, and you will receive the concrete offer what you presumably and probably are really looking for. And multiply content potentially available, showing according to all of the parameters which were basically collected during the redirect chain. As we have seen in the rabbit hole, this big link, when you click on it, it collects actually all of your details, and that's why you receive basically the more tailored offers. And then you trust it, move in for it, fill up the survey, then you receive the phishing and the later stages. Let's take a look at the trends and the which happened actually in 2020, and what has been changed from the their technologies and tactics, what they're using actually to attract people, to trick people. So what has been changed? Offers, traffic attraction started to be more tailored. Ads are showing to specific groups of people searching for something in particular, for concrete region, for concrete timing even sometimes. On the second stage, links are still personalized and encrypted more seriously. So there are more with more hashes. So from the technical sides, it's more difficult to analyze them, and they collect even more details and parameters about you, about your device, to make it more accurate, to make the offer to you and the path at the end more accurate to you. And as the third point, at the end, all of the collected information and details which you filled in the survey, for example, when you were having the redirect chain, it will be filled automatically for you at the late stage when you will end up with a website where the content you see, what you're looking for, all of the fields, your name, last name, the phone number, email will be filled up actually automatically. Now, I think it's a good time to show you some of the real examples. And for example, where, in hurry after the work, we're planning to go to another location, to another country, we're planning to buy tickets, and you in hurry search for the ticket to buy it online. So you type to buy a ticket, and in the search query, search engine, you receive the concrete offers. For example, we see the two examples. You receive the advertising campaigns, AD stamp is right here. And sometimes online users don't really trust to these advertising campaigns. But there is a second part, is the first website, which sometimes it looks more legitimate one. And then people actually click on this resource because they really need to buy the ticket and go to another destination. And they receive such a personalized link, which is, as we see from the more trend perspective, it will consist more hashes. So it's really difficult to analyze and detect and analyze what is under particular link. And then you receive, actually, after you visit this particular link, you will be redirected to the particular form, which is consist of your first name, last name, address, credit card issue. So all of the details about your card, you will just fill up. And there is a brand is used, we just blur the brand to not, damage any other companies and be more accurate in this case. So you basically become trusted already, because you by yourself were searching for the tickets, you entered the website, you were redirected, you didn't notice any information from the domain itself. You don't have time to analyze. Your eyes and mindset is busy with the purchasing the ticket and get actually into the second destination where you're looking for. And you basically fill in all of the details, and they simply, after you submit it, they go away from you and sending to you, just giving all of the accesses to the scammers, to your bank account. You provide all of the details about yourself. Then they can steal your money from your bank. They can sell your details, your credentials, also on the dark web resources. And there are different bad consequences happening. That's how they actually using and trick people online. Also, the content, you might see it's blurred because it's for those people, another example, for those people who are looking for the content 18 plus and would like to enjoy themselves, and it's the story happening in the same way. So people were looking for the content, planning to enjoy it, receive this link, they just click on the link, and it looks attractive, so maybe there is something interesting happening, and then they receive the personalized link again, which is collecting all of their details, all of their information about them, about their device, the IP, so on and so forth, and then they will be redirected to the another resource with a questionnaire, where you will see actually and can win the Apple iPhone 12, Apple iPhone 11, iPad Pro. So all of the good things which are really would like to get as the present for basically nothing. Just fill out the survey and you will receive something. And in this stage, they actually using the brand of one of the telco companies. And people are trusted. They fill up the survey, they pass the survey, and at the end of the day, they will receive the phishing link, and which will saying that you won the present, you won iPhone or iPad Pro. Congratulations, just get your present and just go into this link and you will receive it. So just leave your details. From our perspective, we see, and as we know, the internet doesn't have any barriers, and the scammers are quite active nowadays, especially because of the lockdown situation. So people and brands and users are sitting at home. Everybody is communicating via internet. So this is the really good path for the scammers to create something and be man in the middle to attract traffic, to change their mindset, to make something similar what our brands and companies are doing, to trick users and get their returns. And that's why we see the picture is growing globally. And in our region specifically, we see a lot of scam cases, and situation is going really bad in terms of that scammers are quite interested in the market in Middle East and Africa, because they see people have budget, people are willing to buy, people are ready to buy. So, and they invest a lot, and their infrastructures are also quite big. Another example about this particular scheme is the attackers exploit more than 130 well-known brands from around the world, from many different industries overall. The telecom brands most exposed to the attack were involved 47 brands of telcos. And on the pretext of winning a gift from a big name brand, a royal family member, or a job from a government organization, scammers steal personal details and attract traffic to other fraudulent sites. And as you can see, they're still getting details and information about the phone number, about maybe just to leave email. And to you as a user, sometimes it doesn't look really bad because they don't asking for login, password, credentials, bank account number, right? Well, just some information. Why not to leave? Maybe I will win something or get some, job offers because of that. After that, by taking a survey or playing Wheel of Fortune, the victim is required to basically spread the link to another similar site with a draw of 5, 10, or 15 or 20 contacts in WhatsApp. And this actually strategy involve basically more victims, because one user is spreading the message into the 20 of your contacts. Then your 20 contacts will spread to each of them will spread 20 more contacts, so on and so forth. That's why this scam is growing so fast. And at the end of the day, you will receive after the victim has sent all of the required number, messages, redirection to other fraudulent resources take a place of, and then you again will fill out this information, already being trusted, planning that you will get something from it, and at the end of the day you just lose your details and give access to the fraudsters and scammers. From our perspective, we highly and deeply analyze all of the infrastructures, and as you can see on this in these schemes, the scammers attacked 18 Arabic-speaking countries. More than 4,300 fraudulent pages were created on a popular blogging service, which is called Blogspot. And from our perspective, we really analyze all of the connections and the, I would say, infrastructure of this particular Blogspot service. The scam also involved a group of more than 100 accounts who created scam resources. So it's a really big scheme which involving and working in a, I would say, in a really professional way to scam people, to trick people and users on the internet. So it's a really big numbers, and you can see all of these details on the screen. Now let's take a look at another topic of today's webinar, which is called class scam. And this scheme, which is actually mainly attacking the marketplaces and classified platforms, but not only. And we call it as a SaaS, basically scam as a service, because it's designed in a really way and involve really big infrastructure of people who are working actually in this particular scheme. And we can take a look in more details about this particular fraudulent scheme, how it's actually operating and working. We all maybe faced, not all, but we were aware of the topics and online scammers in 2018 on the marketplaces, when there were, you're trying to sell something, the person trying to come to you and steal something for you, or for example, they pretend to be the sellers, but when you try to buy something, they don't deliver anything. And basically at that time in 2019, they were doing the job by themselves. But last 2 years, the picture has been changed. And you can see on the screen that the class scammers, they even have the hierarchy and the rules, different rules. So on the top level, we see the admins who are actually creating the fraudulent and scam pages, and they're responsible for recruiting new members in their group to work with them, and they're basically supporting with all of the assistance. Then we have workers, those guys who actually, for example, imagine that you are selling something on the marketplace. You have a product, you would like to sell it on the marketplace, and then you will be communicating with a worker. This is the person who actually pretending to be the buyer, and he would like to get your product. And worker, actually what they do, they seize the offers on the marketplaces, they take a screenshot and they placed it in the special Telegram bot channels, where the admin supporting them, and actually it's building automatically the offer with a phishing link based on the offer which they took from the marketplace, and then they have actually a good moment to trick people. And I will show you the real example later on. And also in this infrastructure, they even have the callers. Callers are those guys who are pretending to be a tech support specialist. And in case of difficulties with the person who is selling something, the callers will be involved. And they even have the revenue share profits, the revenue share program. For example, admins, they receive from the earned money, from the earned sum, 20-30%. The workers, because it's, all of the responsibilities, I would say, and all of the workflow is handling by them, they receive 70-80%, and the callers receive the 5-10%. Now let's take a look at the real example. There's one of the marketplaces, and imagine you are selling these watches, right? So you basically placed the offer on the internet with the picture, and then what workers coming and what they do. They take a screenshot of this offer, they placed it in a special Telegram bot channel, and then it generates the concrete special link, basically phishing link related particularly for this offer. Then the worker starting to communicate with you, and usually it's a quite interesting sign. They asking you to go and communicate not in the platform itself, not in the marketplace, but let's go to talk on the WhatsApp or private messages. After you going, for example, to WhatsApp, you start the discussion with this particular worker, and what he's saying, and basically you're really communicating with a real person. It's not the fake, it's not a robot, it's not a bot, it's not a machine, it's real person who is talking to you. And they're basically starting to communicate in a really normal way. They're saying, I like your product, basically, what is the delivery activities, how can I get the product? So basically then they saying that I already bought your watches, and I already purchased them, so you can withdraw your money by visiting this link, so I already paid for that, please go ahead and click on the link. And you as a seller thinking, yeah, this is the original, so it's really good, I already sold my watches, I just need to click on the link and then leave my details. And that's what you get after you click on the link. Basically, you see your offer itself, so it's already trusted. You don't pay attention into the domain and address which is written, because you really focus on the content only, and you really trust it and thinking, whoa, yeah, I just need to input my credentials data and I will receive the amount for which I'm planning to sold, and already sold the product. And after you put all of your details and credentials, bank account number, CSV number, all of the details, you just get from your wallet, this amount is going away to the scammer pocket. And then one of the also most interesting things, if you see that you didn't receive money went away to scammers, and you are shocked, you understand you tricked by scammers. And then you start to blame this guy on the WhatsApp messenger, saying that you tricked me, you stole money from my wallet, like give me my money back. And what worker does? Uh, they just saying, sorry, something went wrong, it's not my fault, maybe, I will communicate you with the specialist from the platform, they will solve the issue. And then the worker involved the caller, the guy who or lady who pretends to be the official specialist of the platform to solve the issue, to solve the issue. And then they start to communicate with this guy who is selling something and saying, yeah, we see your transaction, there is something went wrong, we please follow this link and you will receive your amount back, no worries, everything is fine. And then you click to another link which provided by the third of tech specialist, and then you got into the pretty much the same phishing link. You again leave your credentials, and second time you lose your amount of money which you plan to sold the watches. So double trick basically is happening, and double time you can lose your money. This particular scheme is focusing on different various market and countries in different marketplaces. We see the cases in Europe and Romania, Bulgaria, in United States, in Middle East and Africa is working also quite perfectly, and and more attractive as well for the cases here. And workers, just to mention for you as well, they even have the sort of the program. So if you are becoming really trusted scammer, you will be going to the top line, and you will actually meet the criteria where the admins will allow you to work on other marketplaces, which are where you can earn even more money, more attract people, more steal money from them. So, and they have this kind of established program for the top workers. They provide this capacity and capability. So it's really good to be aware of such issues. But as I mentioned, this you would think that, oh, this case is related to marketplaces, to classified platforms, but not really. These cases are also related to payment systems, where they're using also the different Telegram bot channels to actually place the order, the offer, and then it's creating the copy of that page, and basically where people leave their details. Even for the banking sector, where the possibility to send the amount of money into the concrete wallet or via certain pages, they copy paste this particular page and and can send it to you. So you will be thinking that this is resource, but at the end of the day, you just leave all of your details, credentials, and data to the fraudsters' money and their pockets. As the session is more educational one, and my goal is to educate you to be aware of such cases and to protect yourself as well from such cases, I would like to share with you some of the points to stay, and be aware of these kind of activities and stay away from them. So I will read it maybe out loud, because I think it's unique points. You need to really trust only official websites. And before you enter and log in details and payment information, double check the URL, check it via check the domain via who is the data, who was registered, when it was registered. For example, if the resource was registered a couple months ago or like few days ago, don't trust to these resources, because it's already a big sign that it's a scam or phishing page. When you're using services for renting or selling new or used goods, Do not switch to messengers. Just keep using all of your communications in those marketplaces and platforms, in those chats. Don't switch to any other messengers, because then you will be already a sort of, you know, on a trick. Do not order any goods or agree to details involving a prepaid transactions, and pay your attention actually into the big discounts. So big promotions and big discounts, it's you know, too good to be true. So you don't need to pay attention into it. You need to be thinking the how much not you can earn from the going to this discount, but how big you can lose. You can lose the concrete amount for what you were purchasing for, and you can leave all of the details to scammers, which will get access and steal your money from your basically bank account. So you need to think about the in other perspective a bit, and change the mindset to be more accurate and be careful on the when you shop or sell something online. Now I think we can come to the it's a good time to come to the summary points. So from the trends perspective, there are really new types of attacks are happening, and the forecast for this then will be a lot of big brands will be involved in the attacks. So scammers will create more and more different brands involving because, you know, they adjust as I mentioned on the search query what you're really looking for, and the brands can be adjusted. From one region you open up this redirect or contextual advertising, you will see the content for this region. From Egypt you will see another, from Africa you will see another content, but you clicking on the same sometimes advertising campaign, but the content at the end which you will see it's different, and that's what makes unique this such scam case. And just will be more and more brands will be used in future. Traffic, they will more personalized fraud attacks. They will even gain more details about yourself. They will you know, make it more personal to you, so you will be more trusted to such fraudulent links, and you need to stay aware of such activities from the brand perspectives, from the company perspective, because they're using the brands basically to attract and to work on them, and people would think that this is the official resources. And from the user perspective as well, you need to be careful with this. As a business perspective, we see that the scaling and migration to the East is happening nowadays, and a lot of platforms are used on Middle East and Africa, and scammers are attacking this region where we are located at this point. And basically there will be, as a forecast continues, international expansion where just a lot of brands from all around the globe, local brands, not only international brands, but local brands will be used and receive the scam. Users will receive the scam cases for the local brands as well. Usually when we look at the violations and advertising campaigns and fraudulent activities, we look only on the upside of the tree, and it really gives us not the full picture of what's going on. So this is the problem which is facing sometimes from the, you know, detection perspective or takedown perspective, because to solve such issues, to solve such activities, you really need to look into the roots of the scam activities, because without knowing the roots of the tree of these scam actions, of this infrastructure or fraudulent activities, who is operating, how they're operating, what tools and techniques they're used, you will not actually have a possibility to tackle such cases, to detect them and to prevent, to block them. So that's why it's unique to use the different technologies. And here is the advice to protect actually the brand. At Group IB, we have our digital risk protection solution, which is actually designed for this particular way, to analyze, to monitor, to detect the violations from the really all of the corners and see the correlation, whether there's a website correlating with the social media, advertising campaigns, mobile application, or maybe messenger, and then analyze it fully from the technical side, analyze it in more deep way, trying to analyze the infrastructure. And all of these functions are capable and available in our platform, and our specialists, we have our scam intelligence team which is analyzing on a daily basis. We're working for such issues already more than 11 years in this particular field. We are working at analyzing. We have our scam intelligence team, as I mentioned, which is on a day-to-day basis analyzing the new trends, the new techniques, what are the tools they're using, how they're using, what is the correlation, what is the sort of hashing, or what is the code behind this. So all of these details are analyzed, and we have a quite large and big dedicated team of more than 70 specialists within our department, which are operating globally in Europe, in APAC, in Middle East and Africa. And also we not only analyze and provide you the vision of what we have detected, but also we can mitigate and block such activities. And with this, of course, our cybersecurity expertise and knowledge is our ecosystem. What Ashraf has mentioned in the beginning is really supporting us, because we are working heavily in this field, and it's our main goal to protect the brands and users on the internet. Just to give you some of the hits and insights of how we monitor, and we split actually into 5 different modules our solution, depending on what type of violation, depending from which industry you are coming from the and each model covering the different I would say needs. From the anti-scam, you can see that we work with the scam and phishing cases, which we were covering today. Then we also have anti-counterfeit, where we're illegally protecting the illegal online selling activities. Anti-piracy, where we protect the copyrights of the right holder. Then we also analyze the dark web and GitHub and different sources, public, where your code or maybe your information can be leaked on those sources, and we give you a vision on it, as well as we provide the protection of VIP people of which are impersonating accounts on social media, for example. And just maybe a call as an action for the future. So I hope that you liked our webinar. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoy. It was a really pleasure to talk to you. So you are more than welcome. If you would like to get a free demo of our digital risk protection product, you are more than welcome. You just please communicate with your business development manager from Group IB, or just send me to my email the request, and we would be happy to set up a time with you to give you more analysis and deeper understanding about how we do it, what we do, and all of the insights of the product itself. It was a really pleasure to hear from you. If you have any questions, I would be happy to look at the chat, but maybe in a manner of saving of our times, I can collect all of the questions and send it to all of the audience later on via email. Thanks a lot.